The city of Vancouver officially proclaimed 2018 as the Year of the Queer at an event in City Hall today. There was a flag raising followed by a panel discussion and celebration with members of the community. The Trans, Pride and Two-Spirit flags will remain up until the end of Vancouver's annual Pride Parade and celebrations in August. The city also recognized 15 LGBTQ community groups, including AIDS Vancouver, the Vancouver Pride Society, and Community, which is BC's queer, trans, and two-spirit resource center. More on this, we're now joined by Osmel Guillaume, the newly installed Executive Director of Community. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How significant is this proclamation in Vancouver today?
It's very significant because right now it shows that we have a city that accepts us for who we are. And that's just something that we as a part of the LGBTQ community love to see, the fact that we are accepted in the spaces that we are actually living in.
Now, you mentioned you've newly installed here in Vancouver from Toronto. What has been your experience in Vancouver so far as a queer person of color?
First, I can say, as a person who's living in an LGBTQ community, I can sense acceptance. But as a person of color, there's different ways of navigating, just because at the same time, many folks who look like me don't have the voices to bring forth in the spaces that we need to be in. So at the same time, it's great that we're being accepted, but at the same time, we need to acknowledge people of color.
So how do you see your role as the executive director in being able to do that?
I feel that for me, my role is to ensure that those voices are being heard, that conversations are being happening, so that folks in the community knows that, hey, there's more than just being white, cisgendered male here in Vancouver, that is part of the LGBT community, but also that it's many voices that are part of it as well.
Do you expect to have some awkward conversations or some difficult conversations, given what we've seen, for example, with Black Lives Matter in Toronto, and I think to a lesser extent, one could say, here in Vancouver?
Definitely. I'm starting to have those conversations. And the thing is that we need to understand that at the end of the day, people of color are placed into a bit of a box, and that we as people need to understand that, okay, well, what it is to be that person going through that type of pain or discrimination or whatnot. And so, again, these conversations are important. And the thing is, we need to see them through with our minds open.
And so how do you think you'll go about knocking down those boxes so that you see more acceptance and support for people who are of color and who identify as LGBTQ?
Well, my door is definitely open at community, and I'm hoping that folks who look like me or feel that they need to have their voices being heard can actually come to me and be like, hey, I want my voices to be heard. I want to volunteer. I want to participate in the community because I'm also part of the community. And then going forward, I'm hoping other LGBTQ organizations here in Vancouver can do the same.
Osmel Guillaume, thank you very much for joining us.